Hello, it's Nolch here with the briefing, and this one is about the drug trade because I've been investigating it and been finding out all this stuff about it. It's just outrageous. So, I had some experiences with the legal system, like, the police, judges and stuff like that. And it was interesting learning how it all operates and stuff like that. And I also followed other cases of people who were in trouble for like political things, not stabbing or like a robbery or anything, the typical crimes, like unusual political things, right? And in this socialist state in Victoria, this disgustingly leftist place, they treat political things that go against their leftist system really harshly. It's kind of like, imagine if you're around during Nazi Germany time, which was anti-communist. Imagine if you were standing around handing out flyers saying, yeah, communism's good. That system would treat you like trash, and they would actually send you to a concentration camp. Like they took it really seriously. Well, we live in a state like that now, where if you're right-wing... did I say that right? Anyway, if you're in Nazi Germany and you're handing out pro-communist stuff, then they would throw you into a concentration camp. But we live in a system that's like the Nazi system in that it's radically leftist, and if anyone does stuff that goes against their system, they lock you up and stuff, or they treat you really meanly. But if you get in trouble for like stabbing someone or stealing something, you don't get in that much trouble because they don't really care that much about that. They're really concerned about political stuff. That's why I'm saying we are living here in socialist Australia. We are living in 1984. This is like 1984. This is like Nazi Germany, except the beliefs of the government are different to Nazi Germany. But it's the same thing, where it's a whole big government that's controlling everyone and picking on people. Now, I know I'm going off topic, but what I realised was that the system... the police, judges, the whole justice system and that, they pick on people who are right-wing, right? And they make sure they stamp out that right-wingness, and that's why we're so left-wing, because for years they've been making sure, they've been picking on right-wingers, and they've been stamping it out, right? They've been making it very, very naughty to be right-wing, and for an example of right-wing would be like anti-immigration, like for freedom, numerous things like, anyway, I can't be bothered going into that, right? But just not being for all this leftist bullshit like censoring and all this stuff. You're more for freedom of speech and stuff like that. Now, I noticed that when the system wants to shut down a certain activity or group, then they can. And they work to do that, and they harshly punish people. For example, how I got into trouble, and other people who I've seen as well, they harshly punish them. But when it comes to drug importation, right, this is where this whole video is about drug importation, drug dealing and all that sort of stuff, they don't do that. They don't do that. And that's why I was sort of confused, because I was like you see on TV and you hear like these things about people getting away with all these things, and you're like, well, how the hell are they getting away with this? Because the system can be really strict. Like, why are they letting out this drug importer on bail? Why are they letting out this mafia guy on bail, or this bikey drug dealer? Like, why are they treating them like nicely and stuff? Because you look into it further, and here's the big conspiracy, and here's the truth, right? And I'm going to say it, and it's not just my theory. Like, I know it now. I've read enough, and there's books on it and stuff like that. The government is in on the drug trade. They don't want that stopping, and that's why they don't treat them harshly, okay? They treat a right-winger harshly. They'll see that right-winger and they'll go, no, that right-winger can't go out on bail because they're a danger to society. That right-winger must go to jail for 2 months because they're a danger to society. They're bad. That right-winger must be banned from posting on the internet because it's blah, 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 right? But when it comes to someone who's busted for drug dealing, like somehow they can just, they can be let out on bail, or like there's a technicality, and the police collected the evidence wrong, and the person's just been let out, and it's like like the person's okay, all right, and why is that the case? Because the government are actually pretending like they're anti-drug, but they're actually pro-drug. The real truth is that the government are the ones who are shipping in the drugs. That's the real truth, okay? And it's all a facade. It's all pretending like they're anti-drug and stuff, but they're okay with drugs and they're pro-drugs. And that's why we have drugs everywhere, because for the past 50 years, they haven't been stamping out drugs. It's fake. It's all a fake act. Yes, sometimes people get busted for drugs and they go to jail for years and stuff like that. But they're not really trying to stop the drug trade. Why? Because they're actually a part of it and they're making money from it, right? It's a deep state intelligence agency operation to ship in the drugs. It's an international thing. It's a CIA thing. It's an ASIO thing, okay? This is what it is. And they make money off shipping in the drugs, and it helps fund their covert operations. That's the real truth. And they have judges in their back pockets, judges that are basically working for the intelligence agencies, and those judges let those criminals off and they protect them. And they also have lawyers who work for them, and those lawyers work with the judge to make sure that that criminal stays on the street and continues to deal, because it's a government monopoly on the drug trade, and they're protecting their government monopoly on the drug trade, right? This is what's going on. This is why we have drugs everywhere. Look, drugs have always been around, but they weren't big until the 60s. What happened in the 60s? The military went into Vietnam, a part of the world where there's heaps of heroin that's being produced. And what do you know? We then find heroin coming into Western culture and society, and there being a heroin problem, right? The government made that happen. They were shipping in the drugs. Okay, you can hear it. There's stories of drugs being shipped in body bags. Okay, like they had dead body bags of the soldiers during Vietnam, and they were chucking drugs into those body bags and then transporting them, right? The government made that happen. And then Vietnam ended, right? And then America put a lot of attention onto Central and South America, right? In the mid-70s, they switched over. And then what do you know? In the 80s, there's all this cocaine in America. And you look into it further, right? And you find out that it was the CIA that were importing cocaine into America and using those profits to fund deep state intelligence operations and to fund the war on communism. And I'm reading a book about it by Gary Webb called Dark Alliance, and it just lays out all of it. He's a journalist who investigated all this stuff. It lays out all the truth about it all, right? And you hear about these big time dealers like Rick Ross in Los Angeles and stuff like that. And it's like, how can you get away with that? I mean, I know right wingers in Melbourne or whatever who can't get away, like who can't not get into trouble by the police, right? But how the hell are they able to ship in millions of drugs, do all this dealing, make all this money, run a full-time, full-blown criminal drug importation operation, yet not get into trouble and remain around? Why? Because people within the system are protecting them, and it's all a deep state operation. Okay, it's not that this criminal is just so absolutely amazing, or that he paid off the local cop and the cop gave him a warning. It goes deeper than that, right? I was listening to something about Rick Ross where he handed himself into the police, which to me is extremely strange. Handed himself into the police. It's like, what? You're just basically saying you're going to go to jail for the rest of your life then. You just hand yourself into the police, right? And then on his court case, it was found that the evidence used was collected in a dodgy way, and he got let out. And it's like, what the hell? The judge just let the case out, and it's like, yeah, they collected the police collected the evidence dodgy. Yeah, police do that all the time. That's just normal operating procedure. And if that was a right winger, and you brought up the argument in court, oh look, the police collected the search warrants in a dodgy way, and you show it, the judge would just ignore it and say, no, this person's a danger to society. They're getting locked up, right? I mean, that's the honest truth about it, even though the police really did violate the rules. But in this situation, the judge is like, oh, no, or it was collected in a wrong way. We're just going to let him out. And then he just walks out. And then you go, well, that makes me wonder if Rick knew that was going to happen. And that's why he handed himself into the police, right? And then you look into Rick Ross's life and you find out that he's getting advised by a lawyer that's involved with the CIA and drug importation and all this stuff. And you're like, Rick Ross is a government agent. He's working for the government. He's not like James Bond, right? He doesn't even have to walk into any like government CIA facility, but he is like an asset. He is being used by them. And that's why he got so big. And that's why he had the balls to hand himself into the police. And then he got away with it because he knew the judge was part of the whole network and everything. And they'll never say this because they're not allowed to, or he might not even know that. He might just think, oh, I've got a good lawyer who bribed the judge. He doesn't even really know what's going on. He's just a patsy, a front man for the whole drug importation operation, right? But what I'm saying is that look, the real truth is the reason there's a drug epidemic is because the government are profiteering off it, and it's all intentional. And when there is activity that they want to stamp out, they can stamp out. And the reason you have robberies and drug dealing and all that sort of stuff is because the government doesn't want to stamp it out. Okay, yeah, they lock up people here and there. They make it look like they make it look like there's a war on drugs, but there really isn't a war on drugs. It's a complete scam and hoax. It's just a scam. Everything the government does is scam, like COVID, like so many things the government does is a scam, right? And it's all a scam. And so not only is... So the real truth about the justice system, because I'm finding out about this legal system, because I didn't know anything about it like 4 years ago. Nothing. I don't understand judges or courts or police or anything like that. The real truth about it is that whole system actually, it doesn't stop crime. It pretends like it's trying to stop crime. The real truth is that it perpetrates crime. And it's the most corrupt, ridiculous scam ever on the face of earth. Like, it's just outrageous, the legal system. So anyway, that's all I want to say. But, if teenagers or people out there think they're cool by doing cocaine, you don't get it. They want you doing those things. And it's actually part of the worldwide depopulation program. They've flooded our society with drugs because it helps sterilize people and it helps reduce the population and it helps kill people. That's another reason. It's not just for the profit. Okay. There's other reasons for it. But if people think they're cool by doing drugs and all this shit, the government want you on drugs. You know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous. And the reason you might see court cases where they just let off like a mafia guy, or they let him out on bail or something like that, and like they say, well, we asked for $200,000 bail, and it's like, yeah, but this dude, he's facing life in jail, he's got millions of dollars, of course he's going to do a runner or something like that. Like, why would he come back? It's like $200,000 isn't going to do it. It's just so ridiculous. The reason why you see these ridiculous court decisions and all this sort of stuff going on is because it's all corrupt and it's just disgusting. And the legal system is the biggest scam hoax ever. It is just beyond belief how messed up it is and how criminal-like the people are involved in it. Because if I was a judge, I would say this whole thing, this whole government justice system is wrong. It's funded by the government, so therefore it's become all corrupted and stuff. Because whenever your government funds anything like healthcare or anything, it just messes things up. This legal system is an absolute joke. And I would say, as a judge, I refuse to work in it because I don't want to contribute to it. And like, we should just go about disciplining people in a different way. This whole thing is a joke, and I would leave it. But all the criminals, they stay in it because they go, oh, make good money, and they don't care about what's right or wrong, right? So that's why you just get all these shit people in the legal and justice system, because they themselves are criminals and they're perpetrating a whole scam on society. Like the same as the police, right? If I was a cop, I would actually try and catch robbers and I would probably get fired. But they want you to follow all their rules and to not actually stamp out crime and to actually just forward political agendas and shit like that. That's why the whole cops are a scam. The cops, the lawyers, the justice system, it's all a complete joke and scam. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's all I want to say. I just want to let you know the truth about why drugs became popular, because they'd always been around, but why they started becoming popular in the 60s, it's because the government made them popular and they're behind shipping in the drugs. And the government is the most corrupt organisation ever. And, you know, you're getting brainwashed, you're having information hidden from you, and you're getting sucked into loving the government and worshipping it and all this shit, but it's all just a cult. Anyway, that's it. See ya.